Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Greetings again and all protocol observed. I'm Sister Mulebogeng from Bicolian Creations at Dr. J.S. Moroka, and I'm also part of the circular economy. My question would be, My question would be, how are local SMMEs going to be robbed in or included in this JET project, and what incentives are going to be there for them? Because I think your local entrepreneurs might have a lot more to give to you than what is already on the table, given that we are on the grounds and we are working with our communities, knowing what it is that we need, and especially coming to give in some input on how we can go forth. Secondly, how do we, especially as indigenous communities, benefit from this JET that is coming?
Okay, thank you. Is the last question here?
Oh, yes. My name is Tumelin Tobejani from Optimus Engineering. My question was based on the technical training that is being planned to be provided for. Looking at the technical field is based on maintenance on existing or coming structures, but what is the plan on the manufacturing? Is there any plans on the manufacturing, or are we only going to import, then train people on imported? But when it comes to manufacturing, which will lead us to also the economy of the country and the district, that we will only be maintaining skills, training people, they do maintenance, but maintenance is based on seasons and how it's demanded on. But when we're looking at longevity, we look at manufacturing. We need to be able to supply our own. Still going back to the other latter speakers, when it comes to, we're going to be looking at batteries, solar panels. The current mining sector in Mpumalanga, do we have any production of your cadmium, lead, copper? Where can it be sourced so that South Africa cannot be based on importing only, but we need to also create and export where necessary?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Was that the last question? Last person, okay. Is that the last one? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, my question is in a way linked to the two gentlemen at the back, but in this way that we don't have the Ministry for Higher Education here and be also the MEC for Education in the province. We don't have them, but TVET and LG CETA will have to occupy that space. That we have the situation now where they say most of our learners or students, after they graduated, you'll find that their skills are found to be irrelevant. Now, the question is, what studies do you benefit the country with to look at the markets? What is it that is needed by the market that could be brought in to your tuitions so as we produce relevant warm bodies? Because we can't have this de-link between industry and our education. That's the main question.
Okay. Thank you. Can we give our panelists an opportunity to...
Before that, the executive mayor has to...
all right. Okay, sure. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Program Facilitator, for the opportunity. I think what the gentleman at the back was raising, we should attend to it so that we afford the young woman an opportunity to ask her questions and finalize them and become one of the package. Before I speak, I plead with that, and indeed it should be noted that the panel should be in position to answer all our questions, because as the acting honorable speaker is indicating, the issue of pressing time, that we should be in another meeting in the next 2 hours. Hence, we are proceeding that this process must be finished. I plead, program facilitator, that we allow that young woman an opportunity to finish her questions. Then I will come after. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. As per my guarantee, thank you for affirming that. Can I also plead quickly that I also stopped the lady at the back from Creative around issues of IKS. That was the second question she was asking, just to have a fair balance in that. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask your second question, and the lady at the back who was wanting to ask a question on IKS. Just those two. Thank you.
Continuing to the TVET colleges, maybe try in your training going forward or starting with this new transition to the renewable energies. Try and create artisans or technicians that will also include the entrepreneurship program in that, because we've got trained artisans who never got an opportunity to work in all the mines that we have. They're sitting at home doing nothing. And let me tell you, and actually training after you qualify begins when you find a job and actually work. That's why you start the actual training, because no production is going to stop for you when you are a trainee. I don't know if you get my point, but let TVET colleges also include in the training of the artisan, let them include the module of entrepreneurship, so that we create people that will also not depend on employment, but also create employment.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My sister at the back, are you still there? On IKS? Let's pass her the microphone.
Thank you. My question would be, I think it's also a dilemma we have in our country, whereby our AKS knowledges and systems and practices are mostly overlooked. Especially when it comes to contributing to the developments that are supposed to take place in our localities. So what I would ask, especially with energy creation, there has been a lot of research that has been done in biofuel and...
We can hear you. Maybe that thing is disrupting you, but we can hear you. No, just put the microphone. We could hear you. I'm sorry it's disrupting you, but we could hear you.
There has been a lot of research that was conducted over the years, especially when it comes to the use of biofuel and bioproducts in order to create new fuel, and which we know could create a lot of jobs in rural areas whereby your traditional leaders are ruling. Is the district looking at including that type of model in our JET project? And if so, how are we going to also include the graduates that are already there in the field, though they might not have the skills that are needed, but how are you going to upskill them with what they have already, so that we don't end up wasting resources training new people, whereas there's people already in the industry that are not employed, but they have the expertise and the knowledge to do some of the work that can be brought to them and that can come at a lesser cost as well.
Thank you. Over to you, Executive Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Program Facilitator, for this opportunity, and want to welcome the presentation from the presenters, the panel members. Indeed, would have loved that they are all here as per the agenda items. However, the three gentlemen here assist us in terms of the questions that are part of the agenda presentation on what they need to talk to. But safe to indicate, a program director, that yes, ESCOM has moved in terms of decommissioning Komati, which they have been postponing it for quite some time, and eventually 1st November, if I'm not mistaken, was then the date for the decommission. Mr. Yuri, we've met, if not twice or thrice, and we've been following the activities of what is happening in ESCOM Komati. We are aware that they are building a state-of-the-art training facility, And for the fact that they have already decommissioning Komati and now focusing on the renewable energy, which that Komati renewable energy program is going to be a showcase for the global. My question is, when is the training facilities going to be up and running? Looking at the fact that this project is already running, the JET project, and in that training facility, I hear you talking about the skilling, even the soft skills, and which my worry is that we would want to see our people participate into the real gist of the renewable energy by being trained in that level. And we also want to get how is the requirements thereof, because you are sitting with majority of young people who are graduate, which they will have to be reskilled in terms of energy or JET process. You're having young people who have passed matric but not afford to go anywhere, and the training facility becomes an added in the district in terms of giving opportunity for those young people. The LG SITA training, I was excited when you're saying that you have already applied, that the TVET college should also be afforded that opportunity. And I want to understand as to whether, as you're waiting the letter, when are you inviting young people to apply for them to be part of the TVET college in terms of the application that you have made already in SITA, that you should provide such a skill. And indeed, we note that these skills will come into fold. Others will get work opportunities, others will get entrepreneurship opportunities for them to be having their own small business standing that they should assist. Remember that district as a whole has the challenges of electricity, and not in the province and not in South Africa, but all of us who are faced by the issue that there is a shortage of electricity. And we would want to understand that as we unroll or are rolling up with this program, how soon are these facilities that are of training, that include the funding from LG SITA to TVET colleges, is going to unfold? Because my worry is that, yes, we are preparing ourselves going there, but the program is running. The program is running, and in its running, will that not leave us and also get to participate in that? And I was part of the program facilitator of the signing of Komati training facility with Cape Peninsula. And today I'm amazed that Tate Masin is saying they do provide such a capacity, and it's from local. It's from local. And I would be deceiving our people to stand here and say it's right to go to ESCOM must sign with Cape Peninsula, whereas there is Nkangala TVET that can provide practical education for our young people. You see, these things put us into abeyance on the fact that it's like we're not advocating for our people. We're not advocating for the institutions that is here. And the absence of the Department of Education makes us to limp on the basis that they should be at the forefront in advocating. We have University of Mpumalanga. The University of Mpumalanga, should it continue to provide other categories of education outside the renewable energy that is happening in Mpumalanga? Those are matters that we must discuss and say, yes, we have signed that memorandum with Cape Peninsula. Then what about our university and the TVET colleges? Are they afforded that opportunity? And I hope your signature or your memorandum of understanding with Cape Peninsula is not an open book, because it must provide an opportunity for our local that deals specifically with what is affecting us. And that is what we want to take it to my friend Uyuri, to the ESCOM, to say indeed there is a capacity in Kangal. there is a TVET college that should be considered for the integration of that campus that is taking place in Komati, for us to be able to take our kids at the TVET college, because you might have a challenge in the number of people that will be linked with Cape Peninsula that will not be accepted through that facility, because we want that facility to be a branded facility for Nkangala and for the people of Mpumalanga. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to note and allow the panelists to respond to questions. But what I want to note is the possibility that some of the questions are not answered. So we will try our best to respond to those. And if they're not answered, we'll come back to the people that we've actually gone around and asked questions. So let's start with responding.
Thank you, and thank you for the questions. And I think they're all relevant. Maybe to give more background on the Komati training facility first, which might answer a few of the questions. The intention was not for Cape Peninsula to train our people. The agreement is for a 2-year period to have a satellite training center in Mpumalanga, similar to the one at Saratec. So the agreement is to establish this training facility and to train 6 of the ESCOM trainers to become the trainers for the future. So we in the future, after our trainers have been trained, will conduct the courses ourselves. So that was the agreement with Saratec, and it's only for a 2-year period. And we must also understand, in the renewable energy sector, for Savia as well as the Wind Energy Association, there's specific accreditation that must be accredited to a training facility before any training can be conducted. And to, for example, on the Wind Energy CETA, or the Wind Energy Association, to be accredited to do their training, the facility must, for example, have a hub and a nacelle to do this training. So the curriculum for the wind turbine technician is of such a nature that your prerequisite is you must be an artisan, either an electrician, a millwright, a fitter, a turner, etc., or a mechanical background. But you must be an artisan, and that's where TVET colleges come into play, and that's why I indicated earlier we can join hands in working. If they can provide those educations, I can train further to become a wind turbine technician, accredited as per the qualification. And also, we must understand that the training facility in the renewable sector, I already had a number of requests from IPPs that want to train people when they start with their projects in the Mpumalanga area, that we must train the people that will be part of the project. So answering that question as well, we do not go into a contract with the recruiters to say we recruit you for a specific position. In working together with the local members of the community and the leaders, we will create a specific schedule to say this is where we need to recruit now for this specific course, and then we recruit from the community. We train the drinking water to the local communities and also support some of the mines of water. So that remains there. Some of the contractors are still on site. They haven't left, because we must still make sure all the plants are safe and we remove all the energy sources so that nobody gets injured after the shutdown of the plant. The decommissioning, the rehabilitation and the demolishment will take 4 to 5 years, so it's a lengthy process. And as we will see, as from next year, an influx of contractors, and we know from our procurement processes that we will have to, a certain percentage must come from the local community. So that is the intent, to start training the local community on certain aspects so we can set them up and be ready to apply for a position whenever there's an opportunity to be for any recruitment. And then also some of the other questions, when will the training center be ready? Currently Saratec, and maybe before I answer that further, we must remember that the agreement for the funding is between Saratec and the funder. Eskom is indirectly part of this funding. So Eskom and Saratec has got an agreement, and that's the one that the executive mayor alluded to, that she was part of the signing agreement, whereby Saratec will duplicate what they have in the Cape in Mpumalanga. So that was the intent from the start, to duplicate this, and the funding is not with Eskom. And part of that funding is also money available to train some of the community members on PV installations and PV mounting, for example, SMME training on the aquaponics system in conjunction with TIA, which is also a SOE, to ensure that we set up community to create their own enterprises, and we train them how to manage those enterprises productively, and that it must be sustainable. Otherwise, there's no sense in this whole process. Then on the component training, we will not embark on any component training. It's a renewable facility, so the training is to maintain and construct renewables, so not for the manufacturing. And we are sincerely hoping that this will create the basis to start with the localization and make sure that industry comes closer to the Middelburg-Witbank area specifically, so we can start with manufacturing these items locally. For battery energy, as we know, battery energy storage will also play a role in several areas, and what we've seen worldwide, there's about a 2-year backlog on batteries. And we do not manufacture batteries in South Africa, so it's one of those where we must get trade and industry in so that they can start helping us to establish these companies so we can build our own. So that for trade and industry, I think it's essential then that there is a technical training facility side of the training facility.
We'll come back if there is a...
It seems people are asking some difficult questions. I will try to answer as best as I can. I would like to start with the one where a person said, what is needed by market in order to prevent students being trained and not employed? Well, this is, I think it talks to the economy of the country, whether it is growing, whether it's creating opportunities. It's going to be difficult for me to answer it directly and say this is the reason. But what I can say is that if there is a skills audit or a research that tells the country that this is what you need, which is what also Stats SA, we train these students and we place them in relevant companies